you have a guitar that's just been collecting dust and sitting in the corner of your room or your closet or underneath your bed? Well, it's time to dust that old thing off and get to playing it. In this episode, I want to encourage everyone to pick up your dusty old instrument and get that new hobby going. I know so many people who get a guitar because, they want to learn it, or I even know people who buy them to mount them on their wall as kind of an art aesthetic thing. Well, don't forget, there's actually something you can do with this thing. Learning guitar can, like I said, be a great hobby, and it can be the perfect boredom killer. It's something that once you figure your way around the fretboard, it's one thing that you're never going to forget. That knowledge doesn't really go away. You can learn to play the songs that you love, or maybe try to write and record your own songs. Possibly join a band, maybe impress your friends, take it to a bonfire or something, have sing-alongs by the campfire. Guitar can even be your best friend when you really need it. So what's stopping you? Well, there are a few things that hold people up when they start their music playing journeys. And today, I'm going to tell you exactly how to get over that hump and how to start playing music on your own terms. Here are some of the things that slow you down when you start playing guitar. You have the initial finger pains, calluses. You have zero finger dexterity. You have to have continued, consistent practice, which takes discipline. Switching between chords is very difficult. You have underdeveloped ears. You have pretty much an inability to read music most of the time. And with guitar, there are a lot of ways to play the same thing on the fretboard. Don't let this stuff confuse you. Just go along with it for right now. So here are a few things that you can do. You can do some finger exercises. I like to do one called the 1, 2, 3, 4 exercise. Okay, so this is really the best exercise to get started, get your fingers warmed up, and you can use this to build up your finger dexterity. It's going to take probably about at least a month until you start feeling a little bit better on guitar. And this is a month of playing every single day. Doesn't have to be a long period of time, 10 or 15 minutes, 20 minutes. You even don't want to overdo it, over by 30 minutes or so, because you might really start hurting your fingers, which is going to discourage you from playing guitar. You assign one finger per fret. I'd start down here. You can even use the open if you want. You're really not doing anything musically here. You're kind of playing a chromatic style, but this isn't the chromatic scale. So actually, I have a video for that if you need to learn about chromatics a little bit more. I'm going to start down here at the 1st fret up to the 4th fret, one finger per fret. When you get up to the next string, 1, 2, 3, 4. Next string. Next string. Take it as slow as you can. Make sure that those notes are ringing out, and make sure that you're not pressing too hard on the fretboard itself. You can move that around. You can do it up here if you want to. It doesn't really matter, but do that. And I would suggest getting a metronome. You could download a metronome app for free on your phone. Or you could download a beat making app and make a very, very simple beat where, you can have a kick and a snare and a hi-hat to make it sound cool. But you want to really focus on those strings ringing out, getting your fingers in the right position, breaking in your fingers and gaining your calluses. That takes a little bit to build up. And then over time, over the first week or two, it's going to hurt probably, or be sore at least. But once you power through that, you won't have to worry about that again. So the next thing you want to do is you want to pick up your guitar and tune it every single day. So that will at least get the guitar in your hands and it will get you tuning. Now, you can go out and buy a tuner. There's some great tuner apps out there. The tuner that I like to use is the TC Electronic Polytune 2. And then I also use the ClearTune app on my iPhone. And then you could do it a couple ways, the old-fashioned way. You could tune it 5th fret. That's my A note. I'm hitting the A string, then go up to the next one. 5th fret, that's D, and the open D string. Make sure that those are playing the same notes, Might be a little bit off there. Then when you get up to the G string, you need to go back a fret up to the 4th fret. That should be the same tune as the B, same note as the B string. And then back up to the 5th fret for E. You can do harmonics. Probably a little bit out of tune there. There's a bunch of ways you can tune, but pick up your guitar every single day. Keep it in plain sight. I like to keep mine on my guitar stand right by my television or right in my sitting area, and then I can just easily grab it. It's a reminder to me that, hey, play me. All right, so the next thing you want to do is that you want to do this every single day. I've already mentioned this twice because it is so incredibly important. Somewhere between 15 and 30 minutes a day. Don't do it too hard. Just make sure that you're hitting the notes. Make sure you're practicing and you're building up. You know, it's like running a marathon or lifting weights or something like that. It's not something that's like, you know, Rock Band or like Guitar Hero where you can go right into it just pressing buttons and stuff. You know, this is an actual skill that takes a long time to learn, and there is some potential physical pain and soreness involved. So give it 1 month of touching your guitar every single day. Set a reminder on your phone. Do it when you get out of work or out of school. Touch your guitar, play your guitar every single day. Do exercises and learn these chords. And don't overdo it. If you're a hyper-focused OCD person like me, then you don't want to sit there and try to knock this out, you know, for the first week for 3 or 4 hours a day. You are going to really be in a lot of pain and probably have blisters and start bleeding. So just take your time. It is a marathon and not a sprint. So give it a month and grab your instrument every single day. You want to stretch these muscles and tendons and ligaments. I don't know, I'm not a physician, but whatever's in there, they are not used to holding things like this and working like this. So you need to stretch. 3 basic stretches here. All right? Hand out like this. You want to pull your fingers forward. Like so. Take a few breaths. I go by breaths instead of seconds. Then you want to go pull back a little bit. You don't want to pull too hard, but just enough to where you feel it. And you're feeling stuff stretch. And now for my favorite one, palm up to the sky. Then get your fingers and, oh yes. That is it right there. Do these stretches. I'm rotating. So you want to keep your guitar in plain sight. Pick it up every single day. You want to practice every single day, even if it's for 10, 15, 20 minutes. Do some exercises, and you want to start learning some chords, which brings me to my next part. So you want to learn some chords. I'm going to give you 5 basic chords that are down here in the root position, and I'm going to include the chord diagram with the dots on it. It's going to be like if you're holding your guitar like this. That's how it's going to look. There's going to be a dot on a string or on a fret and on a string. You just play the corresponding dots. So you can just visualize the shape and play it on your guitar. So if you don't know these chords, these are some chords to get you started. These are going to be there are a ton of pop and rock songs out there for years and years and years throughout history that only use these chords in their songs. So learn these chords. G. Some people will play G like this. This note right here, D, is also part of the G chord. So you're not going to be playing wrong notes whether you play the 3rd fret on the B string or not. All right? So there's G. Next one you want to learn, C. D. Then you want to learn E minor. And you want to learn A minor. So if you're just getting started, learn those 5 chords. And those shapes will be reoccurring shapes across the fretboard once you dive deeper into your music journey. So you'll be able to use it if you have, artists that you listen to that use a capo. You can use your capo and use those exact chords to play songs in different keys. So this all just takes time and practice. Your fingers aren't naturally supposed to move this way and hold your hand in this position for too long. You really have to train it. You need to build that muscle memory and your finger dexterity, and eventually this won't be an issue if you practice consistently. So the next thing you want to do is develop your ears. You want to be able to sing and play on one string so that you can internalize it with using more than one thing. These two methods of creating notes, it will help out your brain by combining, your inner voice with any external voicing, whether it's a guitar or vocals or piano or whatever. Even if you think you can't sing, still do it. No one else is going to be listening. Concentrate and get as close to those notes as possible. You really want to internalize playing and singing at the same time. Do. So yeah, I'm playing the guitar, I'm singing the note. Now, if I wanted to sing a note, do, right there, I'm playing an A. You can do it between your voice and your guitar, or your guitar and your voice. You can do it at the same time. Do, 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 do. Another thing that I have mentioned here in this video so far, but it is not Guitar Hero or Rock Band. It is an instrument. It takes time to develop your skills and knowledge. Go into it learning this. But it doesn't take a genius or a savant to learn it. It just takes someone who is motivated to learn something, and you think that it's going to be cool if you can have this skill in the future. So if that's you, then realize this going into it. It is going to take some time to develop. It's going to take some practice. And it's also just a never-ending thing. You can never learn too much about music in any aspect. And there are a bunch of little aspects and little things associated with music that you can learn along the way. So yeah, it's a lifelong journey. All right, you're going to want to set some goals for yourself. Do you want to learn a specific song, or maybe learn stuff that sounds like a specific artist? Or do you want to write and compose music someday? Do you want to do this professionally and maybe go to school for it? I don't know, it's up to you. So set yourself some goals, set some short-term, easy, attainable goals, and set some long-term, lofty goals. Shoot for the stars and you'll land on the moon. You want to be consistent. You want to do this every day. You want to practice every day. Work all this stuff into your brain circuits. And keep your eyes on the prize. As I mentioned, this is a marathon and not a sprint. So little bits will pay off long term. Another thing that you're going to want to do is watch some YouTube videos and utilize your search engines. Or even AI could possibly help you with some beginning stuff or answering some questions. They're a little bit off on the music theory stuff sometimes, but for the most part, I think, AI is pretty good. And, I've used AI to help me learn a little bit about, computers and programming. And I had it be my teacher, so it would give me pop quizzes and stuff. So you can definitely leverage AI to your benefit instead of just having it do all of your work for you. I think that is really what we're missing with the AI thing, is that people want AI to do all their work for you when it's really supposed to be more of an assistant. It's not even AI. They're large language models. They are not sentient. But that's for a whole other video in itself. All right, moving on, we want to learn how to switch between chords. This is one that, when I'm going around on Reddit or online and stuff, people are like, I'm having a hard time switching between the chords. I can play this one, but I can't go to the other one in time. Well, that just takes a little bit of practice. Actually, it takes a lot bit of practice. But you will get there eventually if you keep trying. Let's say I'm playing from a D to a G chord over here. Now, that one is a little bit easier to switch back and forth from because I can keep this finger planted right here on the 3rd fret at the B string, and you kind of switch between those two chords. There's a lot of things you can do right there. But in order to switch between, let's say I'm switching from an E chord to a G chord, an E major chord, we have to take our hand off and move it. So when you're learning to switch between chords, take your hand off and put it back on there, E. The more you do it, you're going to be, at first you're going to be looking at this thing like, okay, yep. Take your time, get your fingers in the same place. Make sure that your fingers are nice and arched so that all those notes are ringing through. And let it go. And then take your hand off. And then go back to that E chord again, If you have to take your time to put your fingers on there, do it. You're not getting graded for learning guitar on your own. So take your time and do it right. I'm switching between the chords. There's my E. So if I want to go to a G, take your hand off. Put it back on there. Go to your G chord. Take your hand off. Put it back on here. G chord. Do the same chord over and over again until you get it right. Now I already know this chord, so I can just go straight to it, but that is one thing you want to do. Switching between chords. And then once you start to get that movement down, you play it a million times, put it to some rhythm, make a beat or use that metronome that you downloaded and try to do it on the rhythm. Slow it all the way down to where it's boring for you and then speed it up maybe 5 beats per minute at a time until you kind of get to where you need to be. And then try to go even faster so it'll be even easier to switch between those chords in the future and it's going to feel slower. So another thing people have a hard time with is bar chords. Bar chords are very difficult for people. But bar chords kind of open up your playing and you just have to memorize these bottom 2 strings, There's an A major bar chord. There's a G major bar chord, There's my... It's almost like I'm have a power chord here. This is the C, but I'm using my A string root. I'm just kind of flattening these fingers down here to let that major third ring out. But bar chords are the same thing, You're clamping down with this finger, and basically your finger is going to be the nut of the guitar up here, but you can move it around. Same thing as the concept of a capo. The capo does the same thing, only you don't have to use your finger like that when you're playing with a capo. Bar chords are especially the F chord. People have difficulty with the F chord there. It just takes practice. And what you can do is minimize it. It only takes 3 of these notes to make a chord. Right there. There's your A, there's your C, and there's your F. An F chord is F, A, and C. And you can add the root down there. Or you could play the bottom part of it. Alright, and for this next part, and this isn't just for playing guitar. This is a very important part of understanding how music works together. And that is learning your intervals. This is crucial, and it is the foundation of music. You can really start to understand what songs and chords are doing when you learn your intervals. There are a lot of amazing musicians out there who never learned this stuff. So, it is not necessary, but it really makes things a little more clear down the road. So just listen to the music. Try to listen to a favorite song of yours that you know inside and out. And try to pick out some things. You're already familiar with the song. Try to learn a riff or a melody or a bass line or a chord or whatever by ear. You can do this. Just sit down and listen with intent and listen for individual notes and try to find them on your instrument. You can train yourself to do this. I know you can. So another thing you want to do, you want to learn how to read some type of notation. Whether it's chord diagrams, whether it's tablature, whether it's standard notation. You definitely want to have some kind of system for learning how to read music. It's not necessary because music came before the notation, but it's helpful for keeping track of things and also for learning a bunch of random songs because a lot of music is out there on the internet for free and you can go out and figure it out. Another thing is don't get too confused by the nature of the guitar fretboard. There are a lot of ways to play the same thing. Learn what a chord is, how to chords happen? How are chords made up? Well, intervals are going to help you out with learning how chords work. But, in terms of guitar chords, the guitar doubles up a bunch of notes on a single chord. So for example, a G chord is a G, a B, and a D. If I'm playing a G chord on the guitar, I have a G right here, then I have a B right here, and then I have a D right there. The next string is going to be a G, so there's my second G. There's a D right there, which you can also play the open B string on the B string, and then you have your G up here. So there's 3 G's in this chord. In let's say in the C chord here, we have C, we have E, G, C, and E again. C again and E again. All right, so I can play a C chord like that. I can play it like that. I can play it up here, up high. I can play it like this. I can play it like this. I can play it like this. There's a bunch of different ways to play a C chord. So yeah, guitar chords can double up notes, and put them out of what would be the traditional order of, a root, a third, and a fifth. So it can be confusing. So don't get too confused when you're trying to figure out, okay, why is this chord the way it is? Just go along with it and you'll fill in the spaces at some other point in time. Another thing you need to remember when you're learning an instrument is to have fun with it. That is the whole point of it all. It is not school, and you will not have exams or pop quizzes. This is all just setting you up to play music. So make it meaningful to you in your own way. Maybe think about finding an in-person teacher. Most teachers typically have a method that they use, and they can guide you around to the stuff that you need to know. Another thing is a teacher can hold you accountable by getting you to your lessons on time and practicing at consistent intervals. So think about getting a teacher. But this list, and I know I've covered a lot of this stuff in other videos. It is so important, and I thought that maybe with some of my new audience that I have here doing the Spotify roulette and the Taylor Swift stuff, that maybe some of you could be inspired to dust off that old instrument, that guitar, and put it to use and actually have something to learn, have a hobby, and create something that's meaningful for you, whether it's learning your favorite songs or maybe even writing music that you've always wanted to write. Recording music is the easiest it has ever been in history right now. It is so easy to get to recording and writing your own music. And you can do it. I believe in you. So dust off that old instrument and pick it up, start playing, start learning some stuff, and come back here in a month maybe and see how you're feeling if you've been practicing every single day. I want to thank you for hanging around for this video, and I really want you all to be motivated to learn music, because music, it has been so meaningful to me, and it has been there for me when I've needed it the most. And it's just such an amazing thing, and I think that everybody is capable of playing some kind of music. With that, I want to thank you for watching this episode. If you like this kind of stuff, and if you want to see kind of some of the other stuff I'm doing, I've been doing kind of reaction, learn by ear transcription videos, and familiarizing myself with pop music. I also have a whole bunch of other video ideas planned in the future, so please subscribe, like this video if you enjoyed it, and if you have something to say about any of this stuff, please leave it in the comments below. I'd love to see what you have to say. Thanks again, and as always, I'll see you next time, friends.